We're going to stand tall against Gates today.
Yeah.
And I came and I talked to the education team, and from that point, we engaged in a dialogue. We exchanged viewpoints. I did my best to convey the understanding that I knew the wisdom of classroom teachers who understand that learning cannot be reduced to test scores, who understand that equity is not going to arrive as a result of standardized tests. And, you know, we're getting more and more understanding around the country of what the Gates Foundation has done to public education. Just a couple of weeks ago, an interview was published in the Washington Post, where someone in the media, you know, a lot of us have been saying that the Common Core was really a Gates Foundation project. And we were met with, people said, you're some kind of conspiracy theorist. And this reporter, Lindsay Layton, actually had the nerve to ask Bill Gates, how did we get the Common Core? And he told her, well, I paid for it. They came and asked me, would you pay for it? I said, sure, it sounds like a good idea. And I'll tell you why he thought it was a good idea. Because Bill Gates is all about measurement and markets. And measurement is the means by which markets are able to operate. In a business, you have a profit and loss, you have a bottom line. The problem with our schools was there was no bottom line to open and close and declare schools bankrupt. So what did we create? We created No Child Left Behind, and now we have the Common Core to declare our schools bankrupt if they don't raise their test scores. And the reason that we need to declare schools bankrupt is we need to disrupt the public education system, the democratically controlled, taxpayer-funded public education system, and replace it with profit-driven schools.
No!
A few weeks ago, Bill Gates had the nerve to go to the National Board Teachers Conference. This after a few years ago he said, the field of education doesn't know much about good teaching. Because he believes that the field of education needs the science that his tests bring. And he went to the National Board Teachers and he told them, our classrooms are like electric sockets. In the field of appliance manufacturing, appliances all rely on the same common electrical socket. And our classrooms need to be standardized so that innovators can create appliances for our classrooms. In their view, the innovation comes from people who are making all sorts of devices. And so what that means is our classrooms have to be standardized. Our teachers have to be standardized, and our students have to be standardized. The only variable that's allowed is the learning systems that are all competing in this marketplace. Well, I can tell you he has it exactly upside down. The innovators are the classroom teachers. The innovators are the students. The innovators are the people working in the schools creating new things every day. We can use technology, but technology is not where we look for innovation. We look for innovation within the creative minds and spirits of the people who choose to make their lives working with children. And we are not going to, you know, Bill Gates, when he was asked about how much influence, he said, well, my influence is just a rounding error. He said, and this is the same thing Arnie Duncan says about the Department of Education, but they have leveraged their billions to control the entire system. And they have organized not only the Department of Education, but The Gates Foundation funds academic research. They fund the development of curriculum. They fund our unions. They fund anybody who will carry water for the Common Core these days. If you want $1 million, write yourself a grant and you can promote the Common Core. PTA is doing it. Our professional organizations are doing it. Anybody who has a name and a reputation that is worth something to the Gates Foundation, you can sell it if you're willing to. But those of us here are not willing to sell our reputations. We're not willing to accept a profit-driven education system. The teachers and the students are the front line of defense for the institution of public education in America. Educators are the ones that understand what is happening to our public schools. Educators are out in front informing the public, and that's our job. This rally is all about educating the Gates Foundation, but honestly, it really needs to be about educating the American public, because the American public needs to understand that for teachers to innovate, for teachers to do the work that parents and communities want us to do around the country, teachers have to have that autonomy. We cannot be driven by tests. We cannot be subject to the intense standardization in the service of free market profits. And our goal is, someone once said that teachers are like gardeners. We create the conditions for learning in our classroom. And we are under basically the equivalent of chemical pollution affecting the crop that we're trying to grow. A friend of mine, Michelle Gunderson, just wrote recently on my blog, when you're not interested in politics is when politics get interested in you. Teachers are ready to defend public education. We need to rally with other allies, with labor, with parents. And it's really, the fundamental issue is corporate education reform is perpetrating a fraud on the American public. They are pretending that the source of inequity in our society is bad teachers. You don't need to look inside our schools for the source of inequity. You need to look outside our schools where there's unemployment, where our students are being put into a college pipeline that leads them into debt, and a dead end where there isn't the promise of the jobs that they were promised is just evaporating. And meanwhile, teachers are supposedly to blame. When the American public realizes that our democratically controlled schools are a foundation of our democracy, we don't want it to be too late. So please, stand with your local communities, stand with your parents, stand with labor in your communities, with the communities, especially the communities of color that are seeing their schools closed left and right. Stand with people who are fighting against the prison, the overwhelming growth of prisons and the school-to-prison pipeline. We are by far the majority. We don't need billions of dollars they need billions of dollars to try to carry public opinion. We don't need billions of dollars. We need the spirit, the hope, and the careful education that every one of us can carry out in our communities. So please, go forth and educate. Thank you very much.
I did not, in my bit of nerves to speak in front